Hello and welcome to Knowledge TV Facts. Today we will talk about Gabi Mann and her amazing relationship with crows. We will also study why crows are so smart compared to other animals. But first, if you like this kind of video, just hit that subscribe button, thank you. Gabi's relationship with the neighborhood crows began accidentally in 2011. She was 4 years old, and prone to dropping food. She'd get out of the car, and a chicken nugget would tumble off her lap. A crow would rush in to recover it. Soon, the crows were watching for her, hoping for another bite. As she got older, she rewarded their attention by sharing her packed lunch on the way to the bus stop. Her brother joined in. Soon, crows were lining up in the afternoon to greet Gabi's bus, hoping for another feeding session. Gabi's mother Lisa didn't mind that crows consumed most of the school lunches she packed. In 2013, Gabi and Lisa started offering food as a daily ritual, rather than dropping scraps from time to time. Each morning, they fill the backyard bird bath with fresh water and cover bird feeder platforms with peanuts. Gabi throws handfuls of dog food into the grass. As they work, crows assemble on the telephone lines, calling loudly to them. It was after they adopted this routine that the gifts started appearing. The crows would clear the feeder of peanuts, and leave shiny trinkets on the empty tray: an earring, a hinge, a polished rock. There wasn't a pattern. Gifts showed up sporadically, anything shiny and small enough to fit in a crow's mouth. One time it was a tiny piece of metal with the word, "Best," printed on it. I don't know if they still have the part that says, "Friend." Gabi laughs, amused by the thought of a crow wearing a matching necklace. When you see Gabi's collection, it's hard not to wish for gift-giving crows of your own. If you want to form a bond with a crow, be consistent in rewarding them, advises John Marsloff, professor of wildlife science at the University of Washington. He specializes in birds, particularly crows and ravens. Gabi has been given some icky objects. Her mother threw out a rotting crab claw, for example. Gabi points out a heavily rusted screw she prefers not to touch. It's labeled, "Third Favorite." Asking her why an untouchable object is in the favorites, she answers, "You don't see a crow carrying around a screw that much. Unless it's trying to build its house." Lisa, Gabi's mom, regularly photographs the crows and charts their behavior and interactions. Her most amazing gift came just a few weeks ago, when she lost a lens cap in a nearby alley while photographing a bald eagle as it circled over the neighborhood. She didn't even have to look for it. It was sitting on the edge of the birdbath. Had the crows returned it? Lisa logged onto her computer and pulled up their bird cam. There was the crow she suspected. You can see it bringing it into the yard. Walks it to the birdbath and actually spends time rinsing this lens cap. Lisa is sure that it was intentional. And she believes that the crows are watching them all the time. "I'm sure they knew I dropped it. I'm sure they decided they wanted to return it," she said. But why crows seem so smart? Crows are extremely intelligent. They can use tools to get what they want, like New Caledonian crows in a single South Pacific island of the same name, which shape twigs into hooks to catch grubs from rotting logs. And according to new research, crows are even smarter than we thought. Crows and other corvids, a family of birds that includes ravens and magpies, know what they know and can ponder the content of their own minds, according to a 2020 study in Science. This is considered a cornerstone of self-awareness and shared by just a handful of animal species beside humans, such as monkeys and great apes. Crows can also use their complex brains to find creative solutions, such as dropping nuts on the road so passing cars can crack them open, for example. The ability to think through a problem and work out an answer may be due to crows possessing a high number of brain cells that process information. This trait appears not only in humans, but in non-human primates, too. A study published in the Journal of Comparative Neurology in January 2022 comparing corvid brains with those of chickens, pigeons, and ostriches found that corvid brains have more tightly packed neurons, between 200 and 300 million neurons per hemisphere, enabling efficient communication between the brain cells. Crow intelligence is at least on par with some monkeys, and in fact, may be closer to that of great apes, like gorillas, according to a 2017 study published in Current Opinion in Behavioral Sciences. In the 2020 study, scientists put crows through a series of puzzling tasks. The researchers measured neural activity in different kinds of neurons with the goal of tracking how crows were sensing and reasoning through their work. They sought to study a specific kind of thinking, called sensory consciousness, and they chose birds in particular as representative of a branching point in the evolutionary tree of life. The task is simple, but involves some high-level brain stuff, as described in the study. The researchers write that sensory consciousness is the ability to have subjective experiences that can be explicitly accessed and thus reported, and that it comes from brains that have evolved over time. Consciousness is associated primarily with the primate cerebral cortex. Bird brains are different, since they diverged from the mammalian lineage 320 million years ago, the researchers write. However, the crows performed in a way that affirms their sensory consciousness, which scientists in the 2020 study say could mean the neural correlates of consciousness date back to at least the last time birds and mammals shared that brain section. In an analysis in the same issue of Science, another researcher, Susanna Ercolano-Hosel of Vanderbilt University, makes a critique of the study's hypothesis. The structure being studied, she says, could resemble another structure because of physical properties more than a shared evolution or an indication of extremely early consciousness. The size of the structures matter a great deal, too. The level of that complexity, and the extent to which new meanings and possibilities arise, should still scale with the number of units in the system, Ercolano-Hosel explains. This would be analogous to the combined achievements of the human species when it consisted of just a few thousand individuals, versus the considerable achievements of 7 billion today. Either way, crows have bird brains they can be proud of. Back to Gabi Mann and her family. Some of their neighbors were not happy about the crows. Their Portage Bay neighbors said the murder of crows would caw and leave droppings throughout the neighborhood. The neighbors went to her and said, "Please, this is causing a problem." It turned out that, locally, neighbors weren't as excited. In a King County civil case filed that August, Matt Ashbach and Christine Yocon sued E. Shelby neighbors Lisa and Gary Mann over the alleged, large-scale systematic crow and pigeon feeding operation. Complaints in the lawsuit were over issues you might expect: bird excrement, noise, and the arrival of other vermin. The crow feeding dispute in Seattle's Portage Bay neighborhood has been settled, albeit with a touch of mystery. The lawsuit filed by Matt Ashbach and Christine Yocon against neighbors Lisa and Gary Mann, who gained international attention for their relationship with crows, has been dismissed after the parties struck an agreement. The settlement, reached last month, calls for the Manns to pay the plaintiffs a sum of money and to restrict their bird feeding for 8 years, according to the plaintiff's attorney, Anna Johnson. That court order said the Manns feeding large quantities of food to wildlife on a regular basis had caused unusually high numbers of wild animals, particularly crows, pigeons and rats to congregate near the homes of Ashbach, Yocon and the Manns. Those animals interfered with the plaintiffs' ability to use their properties as they had before, the court order said. It required that the Manns provide no more than 4 ounces of food to animals per day. It also said they couldn't leave out peanuts or other foods that are common allergens and were barred from putting food on the sidewalks or street and from yelling or using pots, pans and other instrumentality to scare away natural predators of crows. Ashbach, an ear, nose and throat doctor, and Yocon, a pension fund investment manager, contended that the feeding attracted up to 100 hovering crows at a time. Ashbach and Yocon lived on either side of the Manns. Gary Mann is a surgical oncologist. The plaintiffs claimed they had never seen a rat on their properties until the Manns had begun feeding wildlife. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have a great day.